I'm going to link on another Revit model here as an underlay that represents architecture. To do that, go to Manage tab, and in Manage Project panel, click Manage Links, which opens this window. As you can see, there's already an RVT model in our project, but it's not loaded. Actually, let's close this for a second. If we collapse our project browser, one of the main branches is called Revit Links. If I expand this, I can see also the same information as we just saw in the Manage Links window. So this symbol means that somebody has placed a Revit link in the project, but is not currently loaded. For now, I'm gonna add a completely new one. I'm gonna choose this file. I have put information about which Revit version it is, but normally you wouldn't know this, so make sure that you're linking the same Revit version files. And here, before I click open, let's look at the positioning options. We have 4 positioning options. You might wonder which one to use. First, see if there are any guidelines from the client side, from the BIM coordinator, BIM manager, or another person who sent you the file. They should tell you what type of positioning you should choose. However, if there's no such information, you can choose internal origin to internal origin. Center to center means geometrical center of our linked file into geometrical center of our active file. Internal origin to internal origin refers to 0, 0, 0 point in the internal coordinates of both files. By shared coordinates cannot be used if this is our first time linking the model. We can link model, change its position, push shared coordinates, and then link using those. Project base point to project base point uses a point in our model that's called project base point, and I'll show you how this looks like in a second. For now, I'm going to choose internal origin to internal origin and click open. Now you can see the difference between those two Revit files. Both of their location is saved in our active model, but one is loaded and one is not loaded. Click OK and see what happens. Okay, so here's our architecture. Gonna delete this manifold for now. To reveal a project base point, I have to change the visibility settings for a view because it is hidden by default. And this is the project base point. It is literally a point in the model, which location we can adjust manually. And then in the background here, you see the project base point from our linked model. So when you're linking with the positioning project base point to project base point, that's what it means. It assures that these points are on top of one another. So here we have our architecture file. And the first thing I want to do is make sure that I don't accidentally move it. Because once I establish its position, I really shouldn't move it from it. So I can use pin tool, for example, for this. If you want to make it even harder for you to move or to accidentally make some changes, we can go here. And here are some tools that control what we can select. So right now, this element is pinned, so I cannot move it. However, I can still select it, or I can select an element of it. However, if I pick option, select pinned element and make sure that it has this red X next to it, it means I cannot even select this. So this when any element is pinned, I won't be able to select it. Another option is select links. So let me undo this, unpin this, and pick this option. And now, even though it's not pinned, I can still not select it, not move it, or anything like that. We can also turn on and off an option to select underlay elements and drag element on selection. This option, drag element on selection, means that we can just use one mouse click to both select and move an element. If there's an X next to it, it means we first have to select an element and then we can move it. So I'm gonna pick an option that doesn't allow me to select links. I'm going to turn off crop region of this section to see entirety of our building. I'm using a shortcut TL, which stands for thin lines, and it's an option to toggle between visibility of line weight. Actually, I'm gonna turn this off for a second. So right now we see levels both from our active model and from our linked model. You can see this is our active level in our model. And here we can see they light up in blue. There's a level that we see from the linked model. So I would like this to be a little more clear which ones are our levels and which one come from the linked model. I'll just quickly adjust my interface. I'm going to use a view property called visibility graphics. You can click here, the edit button in the properties window, or press VG or VV on your keyboard. This opens this window. A visibility graphics overrides for a specific view, in this case section AA. In this window we can control what elements do we see based on their category, or sometimes based on their parameter values. First, let's see how it looks like in our active model. I'm gonna create a manifold here and some pipes that we can both see here. Manifold belongs to the category mechanical equipment. Pipes, pipe segments belong to the category pipes. Pipe bands belong to the category pipe fittings. So if I go to visibility graphics, I can look for either of those categories and uncheck this box in the visibility column. Click OK, and now our manifold disappears, except for this sub-elements that belong to the category of pipe accessories. So again, if I find pipe accessories, turn off the visibility, click OK, they disappear. But again, they only disappear from this view. They're still in the model, they're still visible in all the other views, they're still are being recognized by Revit. Let me bring their visibility back. Another thing that we can do here is, for example, override specific graphical settings. So let's see here. For pipes, let's override their color. For pipe fittings, let's override their transparency. If we want to bring back the original settings, we clear overrides. So I can also do that for Revit links. If I go to the tab here, Revit links, I am going to check the halftone visibility settings for this model. So now everything that comes from the model displays in halftone, so it's slightly grayed out. So now it's easier to realize that this is our active level, and these are the levels that come from the linked file. Another thing that we want to do here is to create more levels that represent the levels from the model. So we can see that our level 00 is level 1 in the architecture model. That's fine. We don't have to change the names. We just have to make sure that the levels are on the same height. So how to create more levels? So let's say we just want to create a level 2 for now. There are two ways to do this. One is to go to Architecture tab, Datum Panel, Level 2. And we just draw a line. From here, we can actually pick this element and read what is the exact elevation. It's 5,000 millimeters, and this is 5,000. But you can always, if we draw it wrong, we can always change it from here. Another way to make sure that our levels are at exact same height as the levels from the linked model, so use Align tool. So this is our level 1, L level L00. Let's see. Associated level is L00. So this shows us what's happening at this height. Now, if we want to see how the floor plan looks like at this height, we have to create another floor plan associated to this new level. I'm going to call this first floor. It's asking me if I would like to rename corresponding views. Levels are being used as an association for floor plans or ceiling plans. So this is what it's asking me here, whether it should change the views associated with that level so that they have the same name as the level. But we don't have to do this. We can call our views whatever we want. And I made a mistake here. Now, to create a floor plan associated with this level, go to View tab, Create Panel, drop down Plan Views, Floor Plan. From here, pick a level that you want to use as an associated level for your new floor plan. And here we have our first floor. As you can see, associated level is first floor. But again, we can change this name to be anything we want. And now again, it's asking me would I maybe like to change the name of the level based on whatever I call the view. I'm also going to say no to this. There doesn't need to be any connection between the name of the level and the name of the view. I'm also going to change the name of this view. Now let's create a manifold and a loop for this room. We already have our manifold. I am using all the tools and workflows that I showed you in the previous video parts. If I want to quickly see these elements in 3D, I can press on my keyboard BX. That's a tool called Selection Box. You can also find it here. The way Selection Box tool works is that first you make a selection and then it creates a 3D box in the 3D view, which size is adjusted to that selection. If I do this while being on a different view as 3D, then also will automatically take me to the 3D view. If I do this in a 3D view, it will just adjust this box here, the selection box, to whatever was my selection. If I would like to get rid of this box and see the whole 3D view without any limitations, I have to go to the properties window, have nothing selected, so see the properties of my view, find the parameter called section box and uncheck this. As you can see, it really limits our visibility if I have this architectural link like that. That's why selection box is a really neat tool that helps locate the elements in the model. So this looks correct. Let's do the other ones. Gonna use our option displacement lower bar. Looks like they're properly connected and there's no collision. I think our pipe should go a little lower. And now to make them visible, I can go again to my visibility graphic overrides and click halftone and maybe also underlay. So now I can still see the architecture model, but it's a see-through, so I can see exactly what's happening in our active model with our piping elements. I am creating 2 loops for the underfloor heating in this room. I'm going to use an option to equalize dimension here to make sure that there's the same dimension between those pipes. And move this one a little bit. We do another dimension to check what is the distance between them. Can delete this for now. Now let's double check if all elements are properly connected. First I'm going to use tab. Okay, seems like they're not connected here. Gonna use my show disconnects tool. This would go to riser, so this is fine. And this looks correct. Okay. Hydronic supply, hydronic return. When it comes to heating loops, it's okay to have pipes connected that at one point change the system classification because, of course, it's a closed circuit. So in this case, they change here. But of course, we know it's just a circulation throughout the whole loop. Let's see how our building looks on all the levels. I can see already that I can create the same layout here, but I want to see how it looks on different levels. This time I'm gonna copy an existing level and use align tool. These we don't need to copy because there won't be any elements from our system there. And again, I go to view, plan, floor plan, and I pick all of the newly created levels. Okay. Now we have all of the needed floor plans.